One long-term study followed thousands of adults for decades, and the results shocked researchers. Optimistic people lived, on average, 7 to 10 years longer. Same genes, same environment, same access to healthcare. The biggest difference? How they handled their emotions. But here's the catch. Before we can control our emotions, we first have to understand them, how they work, where they come from, and why your body reacts the way it does. Because right now, most of us are just reacting automatically, like leaves blowing in the wind. Happy one minute, stressed the next, angry, worried, overthinking, without realizing what it's actually doing to our health. So today, we're going to slow this down and explore something incredibly powerful: how emotions shape your brain, your body, and your lifespan. And by the end of this video, you might start seeing your everyday feelings very differently, not just as moods, but as tools. Tools you can use to protect your health, boost your resilience, and maybe add years to your life. But first, let's test something. Look at this face. What do you think they're feeling? Happy? Sad? Angry? Now look at this one. And this one. Pretty easy to tell, right? Even without words. Even without sound. You just know. And that ability? It's one of the most fascinating things about being human. So here's something incredible about humans. Long before we learned to speak, long before language, we were already communicating perfectly, with just our faces. A raised eyebrow, tight lips, wide eyes, a small smile. These tiny muscle movements, sometimes lasting less than half a second, can tell a complete story. And what's fascinating is this: no matter where you're from, what language you speak, or what culture you grew up in, most of these expressions are universal. A psychologist named Paul Ekman spent decades traveling the world studying this. He showed photographs of faces to people in the United States, Greece, Japan, Nigeria, Papua New Guinea, remote tribes that had never seen television. And guess what? Almost everyone identified the same emotions correctly: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, surprise, across the entire planet. Same signals, same meanings. Think about that. A child in Brazil, a farmer in Kenya, a teacher in Norway, and a hunter in the Amazon all recognize a smile the same way. That's not culture. That's biology. That's evolution. Because reading emotions quickly used to be a survival skill. If someone looked terrified, there might be danger. If someone looked angry, you should back away. If someone looked happy, they were safe. So our brains evolved to scan faces constantly. Even now, your brain reads emotions automatically, before you consciously think about it, in milliseconds. But here's where it gets even weirder. Your face doesn't just show emotions, it can create them. Yeah, your facial muscles actually send signals back to your brain. This is called something called the sharpen, facial feedback hypothesis. And it basically says your expression shapes your feeling. Let me show you something. Right now, try this. Smile, a real one. Lift your cheeks, show your teeth, hold it for 10 seconds. Go ahead, I'll wait. Feels silly, right? But here's the crazy part. Your brain just released tiny bursts of dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals you feel when something good happens, just because you moved your face. Studies have shown people who hold a pencil between their teeth, forcing a smile, rate cartoons as funnier, even when the cartoons aren't funny. Meanwhile, people forced to frown rate everything more negatively. Same videos, different facial muscles, completely different experience. Which leads to one of the strangest medical discoveries ever: Botox. Now most people think Botox is just for wrinkles, but researchers noticed something odd. Patients getting Botox for frown lines started reporting fewer depressive symptoms, better mood, less anxiety. At first, doctors thought coincidence, but then clinical trials confirmed it. paralyzing the frown muscles, actually reduced depression in some people because it's physically harder to maintain the expression of sadness, which reduces the emotional feedback loop. It sounds ridiculous, but your brain partly decides how you feel based on what your face is doing. So next time you're stressed or feeling down, try this. Relax your jaw, unclench your brow, lift the corners of your mouth, slow your breathing. You're literally telling your nervous system, we're safe, and your body listens. But here's something else interesting. Not everyone reads emotions the same way. Research shows introverts tend to be better at reading faces. They notice subtle expressions, tiny cues, micro movements. They're like emotional detectives. Extroverts? Often better at expressing emotions, bigger gestures, more animated faces, more visible energy. So some people are naturally feelers, others are natural senders, and when those two meet, communication flows easily. But emotions aren't only in the face, gestures matter too, and this is where things get funny, or awkward, depending on where you are. For example, thumbs up in the US? Great job. In parts of the Middle East and Greece? Extremely rude, like seriously offensive. Peace sign in America? Peace or victory. Flip it around in the UK? It's basically an insult. Come here gesture normal in the US and the Philippines, used only for dogs. Doing it to a person can actually get you fined. Same body, same hand. Completely different meaning, depending on culture. Which means emotions are partly biological but also deeply social, learned, interpreted, contextual. But all of this, faces, gestures, signals, that's just the surface. Because underneath all that, there's something even more important. Your internal emotional experience, what you actually feel inside. And that's where things get really fascinating, because psychologists still debate how many emotions we truly have. 10, 20, hundreds, or maybe infinite combinations? So we've talked about faces, expressions, gestures, signals. But here's the real question. What actually is an emotion? Because when you really think about it, it's kind of strange. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it can change your entire body in seconds. Your heart rate, your breathing, your muscles, your digestion, your immune system, all shift just because of a feeling. So psychologists have spent decades trying to answer one simple question. How many emotions do humans actually have? Back in the 1970s, psychologist Carol Izard proposed something interesting. She said we're born with a small set of core emotions, not hundreds, not thousands, just a few basic building blocks. According to her research, there are about 10: joy, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, surprise, shame, guilt, contempt, interest, or excitement. Think of these like primary colors: red, blue, yellow. And just like colors mix, emotions mix too. For example, fear plus surprise plus shock, joy plus excitement, enthusiasm, sadness plus guilt, regret, anger plus disgust, resentment. So what feels like a complex emotional storm might actually just be combinations of a few simple ingredients. But here's where things get even more interesting. Modern psychologists now say emotions might not be separate boxes at all. Instead, they may exist on a spectrum. Imagine a graph, two lines crossing, like an X and Y axis. One side measures valence, which basically means how good or bad does this feel, positive or negative. The other side measures arousal, which means how energized or calm are you, high energy or low energy. And every emotion fits somewhere on this map. Let me show you what I mean. Feeling calm and positive? That's contentment. Low energy. Plus positive, like sitting outside with tea on a sunny morning. Feeling excited and positive? That's high joy or elation, High energy plus positive, like hearing amazing news. Feeling tired and negative, that's sadness, or depression. Low energy plus negative, heavy, sluggish, slow. Feeling negative but highly energized? That's anger or anxiety. High energy plus negative. Your heart pounds, your muscles tighten, your brain races. Same system, different location on the map. So instead of thinking, I'm angry or I'm happy, it might be more accurate to think, my body is highly activated and negative right now, which is basically what anger is. This model explains something really powerful. Emotions aren't random. They follow patterns, and patterns can be changed. If you lower your arousal, slow breathing, relax muscles, walk slowly, you naturally move away from anger or panic, because those states require high activation. If you add gentle positivity, gratitude, sunlight, music, connection, you shift away from sadness. You're literally moving yourself around the emotional map. And here's the key thing most people don't realize. This map isn't just psychological, it's biological. Every emotion has a physical signature. Fear, adrenaline spikes, heart rate jumps, blood rushes to your legs, ready to run. Anger, blood pressure rises, muscles tense, jaw clenches, ready to fight. Sadness, energy drops, movement slow. Immune system weakens. Body conserves resources. Happiness, serotonin increases. Inflammation drops. Digestion improves. Sleep deepens. Your emotions aren't in your head. They're happening in every cell of your body. And that's exactly why this topic matters so much. Because your emotional life is directly tied to your health. Two people can live the same life, same age, same diet, same environment. But one is optimistic, grateful, connected, hopeful. The other? Angry, bitter, stressed, negative. Guess who lives longer? Guess who heals faster? Guess who has fewer heart problems? Study after study shows the same result. People with positive emotional patterns live longer, recover faster, have stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure, better memory, less inflammation. Meanwhile, chronic negative emotions slowly wear the body down, like rust. And this brings us to something extremely important, something that quietly affects almost everyone over 50, something that doctors now call the silent health destroyer. Stress. Because stress isn't just feeling overwhelmed. It's not just mental. It's not just emotional. Stress is a full-body biological event, and when it becomes chronic, it can damage almost every organ system you have. Your heart, your gut, your brain, your immune system, even your lifespan. And here's the scary part. Most people don't even realize how stressed they are, because it becomes normal. But your body always knows, and it keeps score. So let's talk about the one emotion-related force that quietly affects almost everyone, every single day, often without you noticing. Stress. Not the dramatic movie kind, not running from a bear, not jumping out of the way of a car. I'm talking about the silent, everyday kind. Bills, deadlines, bad news, loneliness, arguments, health worries, traffic, sleep problems, overthinking at 3 a.m. The kind of stress that doesn't look dangerous, but slowly wears you down, day after day after day. And here's the thing most people misunderstand. Stress is not just feeling worried. It's not just psychological. It's biological. The moment your brain senses a threat, real or imagined, your body flips a switch. Instantly, your sympathetic nervous system activates, also known as fight or flight, and within seconds, your body releases stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, norepinephrine. These chemicals are incredibly powerful. They were designed to save your life. Thousands of years ago, this response helped humans survive. Imagine a tiger jumps out of the bushes. You don't have time to think. Your body reacts automatically. Heart rate spikes, blood pressure rises, breathing speeds up, blood rushes to your muscles, digestion shuts down, pain sensitivity drops, focus sharpens. Your body basically says, forget everything else, survive now. And for short bursts, that's amazing. Stress can actually make you stronger, faster, more alert. In fact, moderate short-term stress can boost your immune system, improve memory, increase performance. That's why athletes perform better under pressure, why students sometimes focus harder before exams, why your senses sharpen in emergencies. Short stress? Good, helpful, natural. But here's where things go wrong. Modern life doesn't give us short bursts. It gives us constant low-level stress, all day, every day. Emails, news, money, health, family, social media, world events. Your brain doesn't know the difference between tiger attacking and credit card bill due. To your nervous system, stress is stress. So your body keeps pumping cortisol, keeps pumping adrenaline, keeps staying on. And here's the problem. Your body was never designed to stay in fight-or-flight mode for hours, days, months, years. Because when stress becomes chronic, it stops protecting you and starts damaging you. Let me show you how. Your heart chronic stress raises. Blood pressure, heart rate, cholesterol, inflammation, all at once. Which is basically the perfect recipe for heart disease. There was a fascinating study on tax accountants. Yes, tax accountants. Researchers tracked their cholesterol throughout the year. Guess when it spiked the highest? Not holidays, not winter. Right before tax deadlines, during peak stress. Their heart attack risk literally increased, just from psychological pressure. Your brain. Too much cortisol actually shrinks parts of your brain, especially the hippocampus, which controls memory. That's why chronic stress is linked to brain fog, forgetfulness, slower thinking, even higher dementia risk. Long-term stress ages your brain faster, physically. Your immune system. Short stress boosts immunity. Chronic stress crushes it. You catch colds easier, heal slower. Inflammation rises, autoimmune problems increase. It's like your defense system gets tired and gives up. Your gut. This one surprises people. Have you ever noticed when you're anxious, your stomach feels off? Butterflies, nausea, cramps, bathroom urgency, loss of appetite. That's not coincidence. Your gut has its own nervous system. Scientists literally call it the second brain. When stress hormones rise, your brain steals blood from digestion because digesting food isn't important during danger. So digestion slows, acid changes, muscles spasm, inflammation rises, which explains IBS, constipation, acid reflux. Bloating stomach pain, an anxious mind, creates an anxious gut. And here's the scariest part. Chronic stress accelerates aging. At the cellular level, studies show stress shortens telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA. Shorter telomeres, faster aging. So in a very real way, constant stress can literally shorten your lifespan. But here's the good news, and this is important. Your body is incredibly resilient, much more than you think. Humans are surprisingly good at bouncing back. We often overestimate how long bad feelings will last and underestimate our ability to adapt. Meaning, even if life feels overwhelming right now, your nervous system can heal. Your stress response can reset. Your body can recover. And that's what we're going to talk about next, because understanding emotions is step one. But learning how to regulate them, that's where real health changes happen. In the next part, we'll explore why positive emotions literally protect your heart, how optimism adds years to your life, how your social connections act like medicine, and simple daily habits that calm your nervous system naturally. No therapy required, no medication required, just biology working in your favor. But here's something beautiful about the human body, something most people never talk about. If stress can slowly damage you, then the opposite is also true. Calm, joy, connection, hope, gratitude. These emotions don't just feel good, they literally heal you. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, biologically. Because your nervous system has two modes. We already talked about the first one, fight or flight, stress mode, survival mode. But there's a second system, and this one is powerful. It's called rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system. And when this system turns on, everything changes. Your heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, digestion improves, inflammation decreases, muscles relax, breathing deepens, sleep improves, healing accelerates. It's like your body whispers, "You're safe now, you can repair." And here's the key most people miss. You don't have to wait for life to be perfect to activate this system. You can turn it on yourself. With emotions. Let me show you something incredible. Optimism literally adds years to your life. Harvard researchers followed over 70,000 adults for decades. They measured something simple, outlook on life. Optimistic or pessimistic? The results shocked even the scientists. The most optimistic people lived 11–15% longer. Not healthier, not richer, not luckier. Just more optimistic. And they had fewer heart attacks, lower stroke risk, better immunity, faster recovery from illness, lower depression rates, same bodies, same age, different mindset, which means something powerful. Your thoughts affect your physiology. Love and connection protect your heart. Another famous study, the Harvard Adult Development Study, one of the longest health studies ever conducted, started in 1938, still running today. They tracked hundreds of people for their entire lives: diet, exercise, money, careers, genetics. You know what predicted health and longevity more than anything else? Not cholesterol, not weight, not income. Relationships. People with strong social connections, friends, family, community, lived longer, got sick less often, recovered faster, had sharper memory, and even experienced less physical pain. Loneliness, on the other hand, was as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's how powerful emotions are. Your brain literally interprets isolation as danger, which triggers, you guessed it, stress hormones. But connection turns on healing mode. Even a simple phone call, a laugh, a hug, a shared meal, all of it lowers cortisol, raises oxytocin, stabilizes blood pressure, improves immune function. Your body doesn't just want nutrients, it wants connection. Even smiling changes your chemistry. Remember the facial feedback idea we mentioned earlier? Here's where it gets wild. Studies show even fake smiling can improve mood. Because when you smile, your brain releases dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. Your brain basically says, "Oh, we're smiling? We must be okay." It sounds silly, but it works. Try this right now, seriously. Smile, even if you don't feel like it. Hold it for 10 seconds. You probably feel at least a tiny shift. That's chemistry, not imagination. So what can you actually do daily? Because knowledge is nice, but habits change lives. Here are simple science-backed habits that calm your nervous system naturally. 1. Walk outside for 10–20 minutes. Sunlight plus movement lowers cortisol fast. Even better if you walk in nature. Trees literally reduce stress hormones. Scientists call it forest bathing. 2. Deep, slow breathing. Inhale 4 seconds, exhale 6-8 seconds. Long exhale tells your brain, danger is over. Instant parasympathetic activation. 3. Talk to someone you trust, not texting, not scrolling. Actual conversation, voice or face. It regulates your nervous system faster than almost anything. 4. Gratitude practice. Write down 3 small good things daily, not big stuff, tiny things, warm coffee, sunlight, a nice message. This rewires your brain to look for safety instead of threats. 5. Limit constant bad news. Your brain treats news like personal danger, too much exposure, chronic stress. Stay informed, not overwhelmed. These aren't self-help tricks. They're biological switches, tiny actions, massive effects. And the best part? They're free. No pills, no equipment, no complicated routines. Just small daily choices. Because here's the truth. You can't eliminate stress completely. That's life. But you can teach your body to recover faster, and that changes everything. In the final part, we'll tie everything together and show you how to read your own emotional signals, how to stop emotions from controlling you, and a simple mindset shift that protects your brain and heart for decades. So after everything we've talked about today, facial expressions, brain chemistry, stress hormones, heart disease, longevity, one truth becomes very clear. Your emotions are not just feelings, they are instructions. Instructions your brain sends to your body every single day. And your body listens, always. When you stay stressed, your body hears danger, stay on guard, don't repair, don't rest. When you feel safe, connected, hopeful, calm, your body hears heal, restore, grow, live. Same body, different signals, different future. And that means something powerful, something most people never realize. You have more control than you think. Not control over the world, not control over every problem, but control over how long you stay trapped inside an emotion. Because emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, they fall. But when we resist them, fight them, or replay them in our minds for hours, we keep the wave alive. That's when stress becomes chronic. That's when damage happens. But when we notice emotions, accept them, and let them pass, the body returns to balance, naturally. Think about children for a moment. A child cries hard for 2 minutes, then suddenly laughs like nothing happened. Adults? We replay the same argument for 3 days. Guess who heals faster? Your nervous system is designed to reset quickly. You just have to let it. So here's a simple mindset shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, why do I feel this way? Try asking, what is my body trying to tell me? Stress might mean you need rest. Anger might mean you need boundaries. Sadness might mean you need connection. Fatigue might mean you need recovery. Your emotions aren't enemies, they're signals. And when you listen instead of fight, your body thanks you. Because here's something beautiful, and I really want you to remember this. It's never too late to improve your health, never too late to lower stress, never too late to strengthen your brain, never too late to feel better. Your nervous system doesn't care if you're 30, 50, 70, or 90. It still responds, every day, to small changes. A walk, a laugh, a deep breath, a phone call, a good night's sleep. Tiny habits, big biological effects. That's how real health works, not dramatic transformations, not miracle pills. Small, consistent actions. Because longevity isn't just about living longer. It's about living lighter, waking up without tight shoulders, sleeping without racing thoughts, walking without that constant pressure in your chest. That's the goal, not perfection, peace. So tonight, take one deep breath. Call someone you care about. Step outside tomorrow morning. Smile at a stranger. Let your body feel safe again. Because when your body feels safe, it heals. And honestly, that might be the most powerful medicine of all.